Hello, society, YouTube. Um, you guys are blindly walking into a depression so blindly that you're changing the definition of a recession, changing the metric of inflation in order to make it look like inflation's not so bad and we're not in a recession. That's what this conglomerate that is our leadership is doing. You can say, oh, it's just the liberals or whatever, but the Democrats, or, right, left, whatever, neither of them ever pull back. This shit always and has always just moved forward. There's an argument that Donald Trump pulled back, in that everything was going better day to day for me and people I know, people I could see day to day. Everybody's everybody's lives were better. So in that argument, you can say that he was benefiting the people. I don't really know what the long-term effects of his policies would have been. I can easily predict the long-term effects of what's going on right now. We're going to go deeper into this recession. They're finally having to admit that inflation's looking a little bad and that we're looking like it's going to be a bad recession this winter. Well, they admitted that last winter, right? And then they changed definitions and all that stuff and got us through into the midterm. The midterm's going to get over with, and it's not going to matter who gets voted in. It's going to be, they've got it on such a tedious, it's going to take years to come back from what the last 2 years have done. Just the fact that like 47% of all American dollars were printed in the last 2 years, and the same goes for Canada, is terrifying. Should be absolutely terrifying. But nobody's terrified. My friends that have huge retirements are watching their retirements shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink. And then they're going on TV and the TV says, oh yeah, it's just temporary. Don't pay attention. Don't worry, it's coming back. Just chill. It's not coming back. It's not temporary. It could have been temporary. Shouldn't even have been as bad as it was, like at the peak of all the COVID bullshit. But when Biden got voted in, if you recall, he signed more executive orders in his first couple weeks than any president had signed in their first couple years. He signed more executive orders in his first couple weeks than some presidents signed in an entire 8 years. Like, that's very huge. And then printed more money than any president in history. Like, except for like Hitler maybe or or something, but any American president, right? But if you want to see what happens when failing enterprises, there's a word that I'm looking for, empires. There it is. Failing empires print all kinds of money. Go look it up. See what happens and watch what happens to like the people and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter because you're not going to. You won't look it up because you're blindly just you know that if you look it up, you'd find out that I'm right and you wouldn't know what to do right away. You wouldn't know how to react. You wouldn't know what course of action to take. You don't understand. You can't compute it, right? So you're just like, okay, well, isn't it better to just ignore that elephant in the room? Because really, I don't know how to cope with that. That's what you're saying. So because I don't know how to cope with it, I'm just going to put it over there. Do you know how frustrating that is for people who, I don't know how to cope with it. I don't know what the fuck to do. I have a plan. This video has a plan. I hope I get to it. I don't know how to cope with it. I don't know what to fucking do. But I know that the first step is acknowledging it. Right? If you don't acknowledge it and at least accept it, then, you know, like, okay, there's an elephant sitting over here. Anybody have any ideas? You know, should we brainstorm? Let's all stay calm. We don't want to die. We don't want to scare it. We don't want it to freak out and start trampling people. But does anybody have an idea of maybe how to, like, leave a trail of peanuts out the door, get that fucker to walk outside into the wilderness, and then put it down with this elephant gun that I got sitting over here in the corner? But if I shoot it now, again, it's gonna kill everybody around it, at the very least, and we're in the room, so let's get it out of the room. But you guys won't admit that. That's not even an option. But what is an option, and this is a really good one, why don't we, I noticed that they're saying the homeless problem, it's a big problem, the homeless, right? And the drugs. And they go hand in hand. So, I think we need to make, and they say, well, we need to open up hotels to the homeless. If you got vacant rooms, you can put homeless people in them, and that gets them off the street and keeps them from freezing to death, blah, blah, whatever. Good idea. Let's take that one step further. Let's go and say that if you have an abundance of land, right? If you own acreages, or even just one huge acreage, right? If like you privately own 400 acres or 300 acres or 200 acres, that you, and if it's, you know, within commutable, realistic location for the homeless, then you have to, and they get there or whatever, and they open up a homeless city, you have to accommodate that they're there and leave them alone. You can't kick them off, is what I'm saying there. And that, you know, technically that land goes 4 foot back to the government and becomes like a homeless refuge. And then we could make it so that the bus would come by there and get them to town and back so that they could bum from change or whatever they do, and have it so that the methadone bus, make a methadone bus and have that come around and go to a bunch of them or whatever. And then I got thinking, if you had a methadone bus, it'd be a good chance they'd try to rob it all the time. So have it all robot, but on a trailer. So you got a guy in a car, a little buggy in the front, all armored little buggy, and he just drives it around from location to location. And then if they start screwing with any part of it, he just presses a button and it drops the trailer, and it becomes a bomb. And it shoots meth and metal shrapnel in every direction. And it just, you're either high or dead. And then he just drives away and goes and grabs a new trailer and finishes his rounds for the day, goes to the other clinics or goes back to that one, see if anybody's alive or whatever, and give them their methadone if they're still there. And then just keep moving on, right? And if he's in an armored vehicle, he's safe. Especially you'd have to double, triple armor the back of it, right? Because the explosion would be right behind him, potentially. If they disabled him or if they put a trap so that he couldn't drive away right away, the bomb would be right there. So you just make it so that he's safe inside the little vehicle. And worst case scenario, he could push a help, thing goes off at the same time when the trailer drops. A little help thing goes out, and the military gets deployed there, or the cops or whatever, to go protect the little methadone guy, make sure he's safe, execute getting him out of there, clean up the area a little bit. You wouldn't have to clean up much because the other druggies would come and clean up it all, because there'd be all this meth and shit all mixed in there, right? Or what's it called? It's not methadone. Yeah, it's methadone. Yeah, so it's meth, right? Isn't that what it is? Anyway, doesn't matter. What matters is it gets them out of the city, right? And puts the tent cities out and destroys private property altogether. And like I said, once they set up their tent city, it becomes not private property anymore, right? So the government would gladly send buses and drugs and fucking food or whatever they had to put them there and keep them there and make sure that they're all set up there, in order to start confiscating people's land, just like they're wanting to do with the private hotels and the private homeowners and stuff, right? And this would really help with the private homeowners being destroyed and stuff too, because you could also say that if you own dozens of apartment buildings, right? Like a family only needs, a big family should be able to survive easily off 100 acres. So if you own more than 100 acres, then that's too much. And you could even say 75, whatever. But there's a good number, 100 acres. You own more than that, that's like, come on. Unless you're technically using it. Like if you're a paper industry and you're papering and you need to get your paper, then you're that property's in use. But if you're just blow Joe, then fuck you, blow Joe. That's land. It should be getting used. People need to live. Right? And then same going for if you're just fucking blow Joe and you own all these apartments. Well, fuck, man, look at all the homeless people. If it's vacant, you can show it with homeless people living in there still, or whatever. It doesn't matter. You just kick them out of the way when you're doing your showing or whatever. You say, oh no, we'll get them cleaned out of here. And we're going to probably paint the walls and stuff if you take it over. They'll move over across the hall. Miss Johnson died. She got stabbed to death and raped in her apartment there last weekend. So that apartment's going to become vacant, and the homeless can all move over there, and we'll get this one all nice and cleaned up for you. Unless you want to see Miss Johnson's apartment, it's furnished. A little bit of bloodstains, but the cops are almost done with their investigation in there. No big deal. Move you right in. Move this vagrant. Get out of the way, Clem. Oh, stop it, Clem. I don't care if you're going to stab me, you rascally little devil. Clem's always saying stuff like that. Just watch. Keep your distance. Stay out of his arm's reach. He doesn't have legs, so, Poke him with a broomstick or whatever. Ah, he's really harmless. Harmless. No, he's legless. I'm just joking. Ah, poor Clem. Anyway, so I'd say you should probably carry a gun in these buildings, but we're in Canada and you're not allowed to or whatever, so you can carry this broom and use that to defend yourself, lady. But come on, let's look at these nice apartments. You want to be higher up because it seems like it's harder to get to, but then once you get to it, it's harder to get away from. So, yeah, win-lose. I don't really know. We'll see. See if you make it or not. Right? But anyway, I see all this as a solution to all of our problems. And then it just speeds up the whole process of this depression and the land ownership and that you'll own nothing and be happy and all that kind of stuff, right? We need to get to the you'll own nothing part before we can get to the happy part. So just start giving up everything that you own. Right? Isn't that the answer? Because you're not going to admit that there's a problem and that you have to do something about the problem, so you might as well just walk into it faster, right? Like if Freddy is outside the door or Michael Myers is outside and he's trying to get through the lock, you could push the dresser over and try to board the door up better or unlock it. Right? You can be like, well, maybe I'll get an extra few minutes if I do this. Or, just be like, well, it's only going to be an extra minute. He's going to break the door. He always breaks the doors. And he always pushes the dresser back out of the way. He's stronger than that dresser. Right? So I might as well just unlock the door. Right? If you're just going to be in denial about him, because you guys wouldn't even come up with the pushing the dresser there, you would be like, no, he's not. He's not there. And as he bangs and smashes at the door, you'd be like, no, that's not happening. It's cool. Just sit down, chill out. Everything's okay. You're overreacting to nothing. Like, turn the TV on, check out CNN, and if Michael Myers was at the door trying to break in, it would be on the fucking news. Don't be stupid. Turn on the news, watch some TV, relax. Only fear the things that they tell you to fear, because that's the real things to fear. That's nothing. If Michael Myers was able to break doors, then what would be the point of doors? Even. But he's just imaginary anyway, so don't even think about it. Would you want a sandwich? How about we go reinvest your stock portfolio into something that's going to really make it. Let's focus on that, and we'll just stop talking about that. That's not even real. Recession, depressions, all that stuff. The only depression is in your head. You're just depressed because of something your parents did to you as a child. So that's the only reason that you're just sad about that. There's nothing else happening around you. That's all just fake. You're just making all that up in your head. It's okay. Trust in what they say. Watch what's going on there, because There's aliens flying around. They're talking about that on CNN. Why don't you be scared of that? And there's a war. Geez, they're giving money away to the foreign countries and stuff, billions of dollars at a time, and fueling this war on one side, and then fueling the hatred on the other side. And you could be fearful and worried about all that. But don't worry about those things that you think are going on. Bread tomorrow, if you can feed your kids or put a roof over their head or any of that, who cares? The real problem is homelessness. Where do these homes... What if you have an extra bedroom in your house? Right? Like if you have a spare bedroom, that's usually like for if grandma comes over, or like Christmas, Halloween, you might use it, but most of the year it's just empty. What a great place for homeless people. Timmy will learn so much. Little Timmy and Sarah, your kids, they will learn all kinds of stuff from homeless Joe down the hall. Especially when he brings home homeless Ho, and they have homeless times and get drunk together and stuff. The kids will love it. It'll be better than having family over or whatever. And then they wouldn't even be homeless anymore. Think about it. There wouldn't even be homeless at all, because they'd be in a home, heated, cupboards are full, fridge is full, television, cable, nobody there like 8-9 hours a day. Everybody's at school and work and doing all this shit. The whole fucking place is empty. He could have parties there, for fuck's sakes. There's a whole ton of them could all hang out there and stay warm all day long. The whole fucking place heated, empty all day. Every day. Fucking hours. The only person enjoying it is the dog. The dog would love to have 20, 25 homeless people having sex and stuff all around him. He'd hump them all and pet it and rub up against them. Probably get a needle in him or something. It'd be great times. I don't know what's the matter with you people with your hoarding up everything to yourselves. You're greedy. You need to share your wealth. Own nothing, and then you'll be happy. And there won't be a homeless problem. Because if nobody owns anything, then everybody's homeless. And then it's the government's job to step in and give us all homes, the same home. Here, everybody have a home. You know, home lottery where everybody just comes and, you know, it's first home, first come, first serve, whatever. Home it up, homie. Doesn't it just make sense? I think this should go viral on TikTok. Myself. Should be right on CNN. Telling you. I could tell you all about how to live. How you should be existing, you savages. I'm sorry, but there's no better word for this kind of greed and hoarding in and owning all this stuff to all yourselves. You don't need that. That's actually unhealthy for your soul, technically. So to give it all up and help your brother and sister in love and caringness. Geez, the methamphetamine truck could make a stop right at your house. How easy and great would that be? You probably might even have a bus stop just right down the street already, so we don't even have to send an extra bus anywhere out of town or out in the woods worrying about fires or anything. It works out perfect. They'd have stoves or whatever electrical appliances and stuff like that you own. They'd be able to use all that stuff to cook their drugs. So you wouldn't have to worry about them like cooking on an open fire and burning down the woods, right? You could just have them right there, all confined. Worst case scenario, they burn that house down, but that's okay because nobody owns anything, and all you just move into the neighbor's house with all your homeless buddies. That house is sitting empty 8 hours a day too, maybe more, depending on like extracurricular activities and if they go out and all that kind of stuff. If they party and hang out with their buddies and doing shit, going visiting, most of the time, it's your house now. Jeez. See, I don't know why they haven't already thought of this. Why go to hotels? Like hotels, that's how they're going to pay their bills, right? They need those hotels. They need the rooms to be clean and ready for people to live in them and stuff. That room in your house sits empty all the time. It's not making any money. It's not contributing. It's not distributing. It's just sitting there. It's just empty. Spare. We call it spare bedroom. Wow. It's all this spare, all this extra that you have. Share. Rhymes. Share with spare. You know? So you should share your spare. Isn't that great? Like you could hashtag that. Hashtag share your spare. And everybody open up their front doors and just let people in. Abraham said that he had a door on all 4 walls of his house so that strangers would never pass without seeing a door to come in. And you lock yours every day and leave, and you're not even there. Wow, I don't even know what else to say. If I haven't gotten through to you already, it's like you're a hopeless cause that's just gonna keep walking down your path of destruction towards owning things and having a free liberty and all that kind of stuff. Wow. That's just selfish. So have a nice day. Give it all away.